And then there was that time that some guy had an animatronic T-Rex and the director of Mac and Me needed a job. Bada bing, bada boom. Now we have Tammy and the T-Rex.
Watch.
Tammy and the T-Rex. Now I think I love this year in Vinegar Syndrome because it's two releases that just completely blew fans away. And one, of course, was Spookies, and please check out that review. I appreciate that. The other one, of course, the more I think popular amongst like just general bad movie fans, is Tammy and the T-Rex. And Tammy and the T-Rex holds a very special place because it's been kind of that cult weird bad movie favorite among certain people for a while. But for the longest time, it was all about the PG cut, and that cut was fun. But there was always that knowledge that somewhere out there was an unrated version. There was a Gore version of Tammy and the T-Rex. And God damn it, the motherfuckers at Vinegar Syndrome, they found a copy. They restored the shit out of it, made it a beautiful new edition, and here we have the Blu-ray for Tammy and the T-Rex. And that's just, thank you, Vinegar Syndrome. Thank you so much, because this is a fucking treat, man. This was a fucking treat. The film itself follows Tammy, or Tanny, depending on what South American country you're watching this in, and her boyfriend Michael, played by the late and consistently underrated Paul Walker. After Paul is nearly killed by a lion while escaping Tammy's ex-boyfriend... Yeah. A mad scientist, played by the dead guy from Weekend at Bernie's, steals away his body and transfers his brain to an animatronic T-Rex. Hilarity and the world's greatest love story ensue. This movie it's short, it's simple, and it's so dumb that it's kind of magical. There's a lot to be said. This is, of course, again, this is the director of Mac and Me, of Mannequin 2, On the Move, and The Ice Pirates. I mean, this is a guy with cult cred. He has legit cult cred. And watching the Blu-ray, he actually also comes off as a super likable, cool dude. But first, let's talk about what makes Tammy and the T-Rex so good and why you should buy it if you are thinking about it. For one thing, it's a time capsule. This is very much a movie that could only be made in the 90s. It has Denise Richards and Paul Walker in their first roles ever. You have a look at a lot of LA locations that are kind of preserved in amber. And in this case, you even get to see LA during fire season, because a lot of the scenes in the film were shot while wildfires were raging. Which, of course, and there's a lot of great stories about those. A lot of people bring them up. I think everyone in the interviews actually brings them up. Some of the humor is a little cringy, and like bad cringy. But I think that overall, the majority of the humor, no matter how cringy, does lend it a certain novelty factor that I think would go down great at parties. The only humor that really bugged me throughout the entire film was anything relating to the gay character Byron, who's your like standard issue gay black dude. He's just like the gay black dude in Mannequin, and I think they even referenced that in the commentary on the disc. And his stuff is very unfortunate. There's one line about, like, you don't want to bend over or whatever.
You drop anything, don't bend over.
Kind of stuff. But that aside, and you can kind of, you can brush that aside as being 90s ignorance and, gay's funny. You're going to come across that. Also, this film features Isaac from Children of the Corn getting his head bitten off, which, spoilers, I guess, but fuck it, who cares? That's pretty dope. I like seeing him pop up in things. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, but he's Isaac from Children of the Corn. But the most notable aspect of this film has to be the gore. So basically what happened was when this film was made, it was made for this dude who had an animatronic T-Rex, and he had like $1 million. And he was like, hey, Stuart Raffle, I want you to make a movie for me using this T-Rex. And Stuart Raffle's like, I need money. And I need to make a movie, so let's do this. And it, they made the movie, and it was meant to be kind of a silly, like, flick aimed at teenagers. They wrote it in like 2 weeks, a week or 2 weeks, and shot it in I think like 3 months is what they had, 2 or 3 months. And then the guy who commissioned the film, he took it back to South America and they recut it to give it a PG and kind of made it a little slightly more nonsensical. It was already nonsensical, but they made it slightly more nonsensical. And, bada bing, bada boom, that's kind of the cut you see everywhere. But there were certain countries that got the Gore cut. And Vinegar Syndrome, and I think it was also the American Film Genre Academy. It doesn't matter. So Vinegar Syndrome and a bunch of other guys got the cut. They restored it and gave it a small theatrical run. They showed it in a few theaters, and now it's on glorious Blu-ray. So let's talk about the Blu-ray. Movies, by the way, movie's great. Go if you like silly, dumb '90s schlock. Buy it. This is perfect movie for something. It's a Vinegar Syndrome release you can show at a party and no one's going to question your moral character, which is a very rare thing. So what we have here, we have a disc. Jesus Christ. We have a nice. It's not a holographic cover. What's it called? I don't know why I can't think of what this is called, but the holographic cover. It's not actually holographic, but that thing. And you open it up. Inside, you get you do get a alternate. You basically get the blood version and the non-blood version for the cover art. And then inside you get a Blu-ray and a DVD, so standard issue, Vinegar Syndrome stiff. The cover art by Tom Hodge, by the way, is some legit great cover art. Like, Vinegar Syndrome always pretty much knocks out of the park with cover art, but this is some quality stuff. So as far as extras go, we get an audio commentary with director Stuart Raffle and producer Diane Kerman. I really like this commentary. It's very informative. They have a nice rapport to them. It's obvious that they've worked together a lot over the years, and it's not one of those commentaries where they're just telling you what you're seeing. It's going back and thinking about stories and how they got certain things and how the movie all was shot within like 20 miles of their house or 25 minutes of their house, and really fun, enjoyable, just filmmaking commentary. And I really highly recommended. This is another just staple of Vinegar Syndrome releases. I don't think I've ever heard a bad commentary on a Vinegar Syndrome release. I'm sure they exist, but so far the ones that I've looked at, pretty high quality. Oh, you know what? There was that one for Bloodsuckers that I literally just reviewed that was kind of iffy, but even then that was informative. So generally speaking, quality commentaries. We have an interview with Stuart Raffle. He's very informative, but it's all information you basically get in the commentary. So if you listen to the commentary, you're gonna know all this stuff going in. Still, though, he's a fun guy to listen to. He's obviously, he's a working director, and he's very aware of the kind of movies that he's making, and I find that very refreshing. It's nice that he knows what's going on. They also managed to score an interview with Denise Richards, which is really weird. It makes sense. I think she's just like a Real Housewife now. It's basically just her talking about how much she definitely liked the experience, and she liked Paul Walker, and everybody was great, and she enjoyed herself. And it's kind of a fluff piece, but they got an interview with Denise Richards. That's cool. And she seems super likable. And that's kind of the through line here is everybody seems super likable. The next interview we have is with Sean Whalen. Sean Whalen, he's the Got Milk guy from the first Got Milk commercial that Michael Bay directed with the Alexander Hamilton trivia.
I'm sorry. Maybe next time.
He's one of that guys. He's just been in a lot of stuff. He's always a supporting character actor. Here, he's one of the main goons for the boyfriend, or the ex-boyfriend, the abusive ex-boyfriend. And, he's, again, it's very much, it was a fun set. I really enjoyed myself. Here's one or two little stories. Bada bing, bada boom, moving on. Quality stuff. The last interview is George Pilgrim. He plays Billy, who's the abusive ex-boyfriend, and George is my favorite interview here. I am firmly in the belief that he is using a lot of hyperbole in his interview. I think he's being a little, I think he's playing up the stories a bit, but they're really fun to listen to. He's fun to listen to. He's a natural storyteller. So great interview with George Pilgrim. Just Great interviews. The only other extra we have on the disc is we get a VHS transfer of the original PG cut. Cool. I guess it'd be okay to have an HD version, but who's going to actually watch that? So I think it was a smart decision on Vinegar Syndrome's part to just make this kind of a nostalgia piece. I don't know if they maybe didn't even have access to a proper cut and didn't want to cut this one down or what. It doesn't really matter. The point is, if you want to watch the original PG cut, if you want to compare the two, if you just want to have something to show some more discerning folks, it's available. I started watching it just to, for this review, and it is a perfectly fine VHS transfer. I don't know what else to say. So anyway, this is a short review. I highly recommend this Blu-ray. It's a great all-around package. If I had to come up with one negative, and this is a very minor negative. This is like the most minimal of negatives. I could have done without the holographic cover. You notice it kind of bends weird. And I don't know, something about holographic covers always come off as kind of cheap to me. I much prefer the just normal slip cases that Vinegar Syndrome puts out. And honestly, the other side of this one is basically that, where it has like the embossed lettering and all that. I find that much more enjoyable. I would have preferred that with the Gore art on it, but again, that's such a minor quibble. It's almost meaningless. I'm trying to come up with things to find that are negative, which is like every review is basically me just being like, what can I actually find that I don't like about this? And there's not much. It's dumb as a rock. If you don't like dumb movies, you're not going to like this. But I feel like if you don't like dumb movies, you're not buying Vinegar Syndrome releases in the first place. Again, if you like dumb things, if you like gore, this has some fucked up shit in it. Surprisingly fucked up. There's like some really good special effects work done in here. Also some not great special effects work, but it's a nice mix. It's really fun. It's very silly. Check it out. And that's all I got for you.
Mikey, if you can hear me, I love you, boy. I shall always love you.
Like, subscribe, all that shit. Comment below if you've watched the movie and what you think of it. If you have any notable points about the film, let me know about those. I've just set up a Patreon. I don't actually expect anyone to give to the Patreon anytime soon, but just so it's out there and like for posterity or whatever, it's linked below. I'm going to be putting a lot of like just uncut reviews and what have you and thoughts on movies in there. There will be some discounts on merch in the Manatee Party store, which Manatee Party is my production company. Just if you, I don't know, if you feel like donate. I don't feel like I've done enough for people to actually give me money, but if you want to, I guess, fine, do it. Beyond that, Fatal Future is still on Amazon Prime. You can check that out if you like dumb bullshit. But yeah, go watch Tammy and the T-Rex.